John was a 29-year-old IT technician living in Brooklyn. He led an ordinary life, working diligently, spending time with his family, and enjoying his hobbies. He had no criminal record, and the thought of breaking the law never crossed his mind. He was active in his local church and volunteered at a soup kitchen on weekends. Life was simple, but it was good. One evening, seeking connection and conversation, John ventured into an online chat room titled Sexual Fantasies. Believing it to be an adult space for role-playing and fantasy, John engaged in conversations with other users. He thought these were adults role-playing and never questioned the ages of the other participants. Then he encountered Sarah 143, a user who claimed to be 14 years old. Unbeknownst to John, Sarah 143 was not a young girl seeking forbidden thrills. She was a fabrication, a digital ghost conjured by undercover law enforcement officers. John, oblivious to the trap being set, continued his interactions with Sarah 143, unaware that each keystroke was drawing him closer to a nightmare. Over the next few weeks, the online exchanges between John and Sarah 143 continued. Driven by what they perceived as an opportunity to catch a predator, the officers behind Sarah 143 escalated the conversations, introducing sexually suggestive themes and requests. They preyed on John's loneliness, his desire for connection. They spent hours building a rapport with him, gaining his trust, all with the intention of manipulating him into taking actions that would justify their operation. John, though initially hesitant, found himself drawn into the fabricated persona of Sarah 143. He believed he was engaging in harmless fantasy with another consenting adult. He did not realize that he was being manipulated, pushed towards a predetermined outcome by those who held the power in this digital charade. Sarah 143 began pressuring John to meet in person. She sent him suggestive messages and even shared fabricated photos, all designed to convince him that she was a willing participant in this dangerous game. John, torn between his better judgment and the fabricated connection he had built with Sarah 143, hesitated. Despite his reservations, John eventually succumbed to the relentless pressure and agreed to meet Sarah 143 at a park in Brooklyn. He told himself that he would make sure she was of age before anything happened. He clung to the hope that this was all just a misunderstanding, that he hadn't been chatting with a minor. When John arrived at the park, he was met by an adult-appearing woman who did not immediately raise any red flags. They talked, and John even bought her a coffee, still believing this was just a normal meeting. It was only after she asked to use his phone charger that she revealed she was, in fact, only 14 years old. The moment those words left her lips, undercover officers swarmed John, tackling him to the ground. Confused and terrified, John was immediately arrested. He was accused of soliciting a minor for sex and found himself facing a future that seemed ripped from a nightmare. Section 4. The wheels of justice grind slowly. John maintained his innocence, proclaiming that he had been entrapped by the police. He had no prior criminal record, no history of predatory behavior. His life, up until this point, had been a testament to his character. His court-appointed lawyer, overwhelmed with his own caseload, advised John to plead guilty. He argued that it would lead to a lighter sentence. John, however, refused to confess to a crime he didn't commit. He insisted on his right to a trial, clinging to the hope that the truth would prevail. The first trial ended in a hung jury. The prosecution, unwilling to accept defeat, decided to retry the case. They doubled down on their narrative, painting John as a predator who had been caught red-handed. John, now facing an even bleaker future, began to lose hope. Section 5. Finding hope in darkness. Despite his lawyer's lackluster performance, John was found guilty. He was sentenced to 4 years in prison and 10 years of parole, a punishment that seemed disproportionate to the crime, especially considering the circumstances of his arrest. Life in prison was harsh, but John refused to let it break him. He enrolled in paralegal courses offered within the prison, determined to understand the legal system that had failed him. He spent hours poring over legal textbooks, researching case law, and studying the intricacies of entrapment law. During his research, John made a chilling discovery. His court-appointed lawyer had failed to file crucial appeals that could have led to a different outcome in his case. Armed with this new knowledge, John filed a motion for a new trial. He poured all his hope, all his energy, into this one last chance at justice. Section 6. The fight continues. John's fight is far from over. He is currently out on parole, but the stigma of his conviction follows him like a shadow. He continues to work on his case, driven by an unwavering belief in his innocence and a desire to hold those who wronged him accountable. His story is a stark reminder of the dangers of entrapment, a practice that raises serious questions about due process, fairness, and the very definition of justice. It is a story that highlights the urgent need for reform, for greater oversight of law enforcement, and for a system that values truth and accountability above all else. John's case is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, to the unwavering belief in justice, even in the face of overwhelming odds.